I first learned to listen before I had my own voice. I relied on the direction of my chubby fingers, pointing to the geese in the playground, to the scrapes on my elbow. When I sat cross-legged, the carpet imprinted itself into my kneecaps, but I did not notice. Words floated invisibly into my ears, turning into paragraphs. I heard revelations in the wind chimes and in the beat of plastic drumming. I became myself like my monarch butterflies, which I released into the garden. I flourished into scarlet Indian paintbrush beneath the rising Utah sun. I now communicate through the microscope, through parabolas, through Shakespeare. And when I speak, my teachers hear the melody of the wind chime too. They tune me and amend me, who I am to be. I find myself not only speaking, but creating, and I am not alone, but a piece of tesserae among other creators, and together we study our collective breathing. We believe in knowledge, which is to understand that beneath every stone lies another to be overturned. I overturn poetry. I am a sculptor of the written word, creating and chiseling language like clay. I am a sculptor of the beyond. The wind chimes still echo within my bones, and without those who showed me what it means to speak, to overturn stones, to create, I would never know the difference between the feet beneath me and the road I intend to tread.
The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. A date which will live in infamy.
Education is one of the most important weapons in a country.
Doors of opportunity are opening to each of you that were not open to your mothers and to your fathers. And the great challenge facing you is to be ready to enter these doors as they open.
My name is Troy Kusakawa. I'm in 11th grade at Rowland Hall. If I were to describe a Rowland Hall student, my experience has been warm, which is really nice, being able to talk to each other. And I mean, that's not just with the students, it's also with, the teachers.
So this problem we're exploring, Sabina's cows. What's our population of interest in this problem?
Cows?
It's just the cows, right? It's the herd. Bella, what parameter are we trying to determine about this herd?
The total amount of cows.
Yeah, so we're really interested in like what's the size of the herd? How many cows? And then this was the big challenge, is that you all created a statistic, and those statistics are supposed to be estimates for the size of the herd.
So the Sabina's cow problem is about a farmer who has a bunch of cows stomped into his farm, and he's quite upset about that. And he finds that on each of these cows there's a tag, and you're trying to figure out, with those numbers, how many are in the entire herd.
So your method seems to predict, on average, it predicts 350 cows in the herd. How many cows were in the herd?
342.
Okay, so from 7 cows, you were able to project how big the herd was to, on average, your method's gonna get, within 8 cows, right?
Yeah.
I kind of made this silly problem about a lady and her zucchini patch and, some marauding cows that are coming in there and trashing her zucchinis. But this is actually really connected to a famous historical problem in statistics. And so I want everybody to break out their laptops. You can come back to your seats, break out your laptops. Google the German tank problem.
So hi everybody, welcome to our meeting. I hope you're all really excited. The sesquicentennial weekend is about 3 weeks away, and I wanted to show you the little giveaways that we have for people. For the Friday night alumni reunion, people can get their own fancy alumni mug, and then who doesn't want a vintage Rowland Hall sweatshirt? We'll be selling them at the Friday reunion and on Saturday, and they come in blue and green.
En haut du mont.
Très bien. Et maintenant, the mount on top of which? Connor.
Le mont en haut duquel.
My name's Doug Wortham, and I teach French, and I have been here at Rowland Hall for 40 years as of this year. And it's always been French, and it's always been Rowland Hall. When I first went to university, it was a public university, and it was a step up, but it wasn't dramatic. When I came to Rowland Hall, it was a dramatic step up. I realized the potential of these kids, and within a year of teaching, I actually became angry at my own education because I felt that my own intellectual potential had been a little bit squandered by those in whom I had entrusted it, right? So I really straight away just made a vow to myself saying, I'm not going to squander kids' potential academically. I'm going to push them all the way.
My name is Mary Lawler, and I teach 6th grade English at Rowland Hall. This is my 22nd year. With teaching, you have to be on your game. There's no sitting back in your chair. The day goes so fast because there's just so much going on. I think at the middle school, we are so comfortable with being vulnerable, being ourselves, not taking ourselves too seriously. We all work so hard, and I think we just really have a sense of humor about this age group.
At Rowland Hall, relationships matter, and relationships matter because without strong relationships and the feeling of trust amongst faculty, between administration and faculty, between faculty and students, between students and their peer students, we don't have the strong community that allows us to do the amazing work that we do.
I think probably my strongest bond that I have with a teacher at Rowland Hall is Sophia Gorder. And for us, it was more than just a teacher-student relationship. It became a friendship. Dance was very interesting for me because in general, I used to always claim that I wasn't a dancer. So Sophia kind of helped me find myself as a dancer, and in that I was able to find myself as a person.
I'm Anne, and I used to be Pearson, and when I got married I took on the name of Hutton. And most people know that I am the daughter, one of 3, the middle daughter of Aunt Henry. What happened to me and my family was that my father died and my mother needed a job. And that was when she was hired to be the dorm mother. And we got to know the girls that came in from the outlying ranches. They would go and send their girls to Rowland Hall because of the remoteness of living in Montana, Wyoming, Nevada, Idaho. Trying to look at the culture at the time, Rowland Hall, I think, would have, by today's standard, would be considered a convent. But Rowland Hall was good because it was an opportunity where young girls did have to take leadership roles. And in fact, it was a good place for me to begin my own sort of interest in other kinds of things in life besides just getting married and having children.
I'm John Bone, 94, boom.
Clover Sanders, 97.
My lovely wife.
I just want to thank you for being involved and coming to the all-class reunion.
Nancy Sandak Borgenicht. I graduated in 1960.
My name's John Amos, and I went to Rowland Hall my whole life.
We wore uniforms. It was Rowland Hall separate, St. Mark's separate.
My name's Roger Sandak. I graduated not from Rowland Hall, but from St. Mark's. I was the first class to start in the 7th grade.
I had Tony Larimer, George Fox,
Doug Wortham. Yeah. Best teacher I've ever had in my entire life.
Our memories of Rowland Hall are still bright with us.
The way that Rowland Hall impacted my life was like just connection and like doing what you love.
Rowland Hall gave me that work ethic. It gave me a sense of community.
Rowland Hall was the best. I went to Stanford. It didn't compare to Rowland Hall.
How about the 60s? Whoa, that's a huge crowd. I think the 60s win.
Or Mr. Hayes and his study guides and knowing like you have to make study guides in order to succeed and being able to go.
I've never had pride in my work like I had when you were with Mr. Hayes.
It's just a phenomenal institution that I just love deeply.
We're so excited for this chance to view our old school. So great to go through these old buildings and see where we did, like you put a lizard in the Latin teacher's drawer. That was just thank you all for coming, and we're on our way. Robin, do you want to say something?
I just want to join Nancy and the Borgenics and thank you all for coming. We were on this campus from 1880 to 2002. So 121 years on this campus before we moved to the McCarthy campus.
How are they walking or moving into battle? What are those clean, well-oiled mechanisms, perhaps?
They're tanks. They're not beautiful. They're rudimentary and they're practical and they're trudging in on through mud and dirt, not on pristine white horses with lances. It's bayonets.
How does Hemingway view these abstract notions of glory and honor?
They're useless.
They are useless. Why? What do words such as glory and honor and sacrifice, what are they covering over?
Well, they're abstract ideas covering the brutality of war.
The brutality of war, just like grass. So that's a perfect segue, right? Let's remind ourselves, who is the speaker in this poem? How is that so different?
It's the grass.
The grass. And what is the grass's kind of attitude toward these bodies? And go ahead, Austin.
You know, wars are going to happen, and basically the grass it just covers over it.
So with the poem in mind, I ask you guys to go home and try and capture the cadence, maybe some of the tools, to write your own short imitation, right? And to think about language and think about a point of view other than your own.
And throw them far into the Indian Ocean, and throw them far in the Mediterranean Sea, and the Bay of Biscay, drown them under and let me free. 20 years, 100 years, and passengers ask the captain, what sea is this? Where are we now? I'm the ocean, let me free.
Mourn the fallen again in Orlando and Vegas. Bury them beneath and let us persist. We are the guns, we foster destruction. And mourn them again at Douglas High, and mourn them again at Columbine and Sandy Hook. Bury them beneath and let us remain. 1 year, 5 years, and citizens ask the world, what society is this? Where must be turned now? We are the guns, let us persist.
I was a very shy, introverted, and I still have some of that in me. And Rowland Hall made me blossom and gave me a place. And you always carry that around. It's like a little cushion of resiliency, that when you have the good things, you store it up, and in hard times, you can rely on that. And that's been pretty much set my life in a different pattern.
When I first came to the school to shadow, I walked in and I realized that Dr. Halloran's class was like an office. There are books lining the back wall, and you all sit around this one big table.
I read that book. So, what we're going to do is we're going to have a conversation about this book by Lizzie Collingham. The book asks you to consider the centrality of something which is not usually at the center of narratives about the war for any of the competent nations, including the United States. And that's the necessity to feed populations. So, same format as usual, and I am eager to hear what you thought.
My mother always said, you do something, you choose one thing and you get really good at it. But of course you can't really choose something and practice it well if you don't have a passion for it. And the teachers really do a great job of getting that excitement out of you. And I think that's something really quite special.
I would suggest to you that we're strange people, human beings, in our ability to both see and not see. And here you have something which tells you that an item you see every day, something that's right in front of your eyes, is much more powerful in human history than you may have imagined. And so appearances can be deceiving. The appearance of the power of politics may mask the value of something else, which is apparent, right? You see it all the time, but you don't really see it until somebody like Collingham helps you to appreciate the power it's exerting over you and over other people and what they will do relative to you. So that was the purpose of the book. I thank you for your many insights. It's been a pleasure to see you this morning, and thank you for your tolerance of what we're doing today. Also, whoever ordered this snow, you're on the naughty list. Yeah! Woohoo! Saturdays! No, dude.
Oh,
Rowland Hall, we're celebrating 150 years. Everyone is feeling so much excitement because there's so much to celebrate. We've had a wonderful history. We have a wonderful future.
We're at the 150th celebration of Rowland Hall. Happy 150th Rowland Hall.
And finally, a poem. Singular, dynamic, alone. Voice is independent, floating aimlessly about until grounded by an idea. Abstract, impressionable, collaborative. Voice may stand alone, may come from a single source, may be independently expressed, but voices bring about other voices. Opinions, ideas, expressions are shaped by the sounds and lives and experiences swirling constantly around them. Ideas cultivate ideas. Opinions rupture opinions. Theories oppose theories. Yet voices cohabitate, independently intertwined with other utterances in unison to become ferocious and unignorable. United, indisputable, unforgettable. This school establishes an environment to let voices change voices. Here, my voice has become more powerful not solely due to the educational tools taught to me that have allowed me to support or disprove my own claims, but because of the community of accepting adversity and demonstrating diversity, where students can explore perspectives and narratives to discover the qualities that define them. I have begun to understand the applicability of a diverse education to a voice-ridden world, how voices are created to be listened to despite the intention. This community of teachers and coaches and peers has taught me an opinion can only be arguable if it is multifaceted. An idea can only prosper if it is original. A voice can only be heard if it is formidable.
To you by and by Rowland Hall, school that we love. I swear, you may have